Hello.
I'm Sarah.
And I'm David, and we're here to talk about Survivor.
Woo, this week made up for last week.
Yeah, absolutely. Big moves happening this week.
So we had a reward challenge.
They're playing for ice cream.
Yes. If I was malnourished and then had a bunch of sugar, I would be so unstable. I would not be able to compete at all.
Right.
I'd be saying the craziest stuff.
Yeah.
I'd be kicked out for sure.
Yeah, your blood sugar is like out of control after you just eat ice cream and whipped cream and like maraschino cherries. But they're all very excited to play for ice cream. So then they have to split into two teams. Julia and Aubrey are team captains.
Yes.
And they pick their teams.
Who knows really what the key was, but Julia's team just plowed right through it, had no problems whatsoever.
Yeah. They didn't fall once,
nope.
And they win, and Aubrey's team is back at the start.
Hasn't even got started.
Yeah.
Aubrey fell a few times, then Michelle gets up, falls a few times, Sydney gets up, falls a few times. They get nowhere. So insane.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
So that team easily wins reward. They go back to camp. They get to go to this ice cream truck.
How awkward was that though? It was like right there at camp.
Yeah.
But they had to be separate. But like everyone else is right
Everyone else
here.
is sitting there staring at you, watching you eat ice cream.
It was so awkward.
And usually I think with those rewards, they get to go off and like be secluded and talk strategy.
And talk game.
But you can't talk game in front of everybody at camp. So they're just sort of enjoying their ice cream in peace. And they were trying to be nice about it for the most part. Jason sort of called them out. It's like, you can be louder.
No, it should not have been louder.
No, that would not have gone over well.
Aubrey has a total breakdown because they already know with lack of Neil, the brains are
on the outs.
Yes. And so she, now that her team that she picked for the reward challenge failed miserably, she's just like, I'm ruining my game. She's like, I'm making horrible decisions, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, right. It's an avalanche of bad decisions. She's freaking out. The Brawn and the Beauty Tribe are teamed up together now against the Brains, but people are starting to talk, and Jason and Scott are sort of saying, we're even guys and girls. I wonder if there's going to be an all-girls alliance.
Which I kind of thought they were just being proactive of like, we need to make sure that there's always more guys than girls. So let's split the votes between Aubrey and Debbie.
Yep.
Get a girl out. Shouldn't be a girls alliance.
Right.
But Nick, who is just like, I don't know, he got a power trip when he became like this middleman, and he just like thought he should play every angle possible. So he pulls Julia aside, gets totally caught by Sydney.
Oh, yeah.
Sydney assumes that Jason and Scott were a part of whatever Nick was doing, so Sydney calls Jason and Scott out on it.
Yeah, and Nick, all three of them.
Yeah,
she was like, I saw that, I saw you, you walked 50 feet away, and you're talking to Julia about I don't know what. But if
and he clearly was like, it's all good. Like, Nick did not do that covertly at all.
No, he comes back to camp, he's like, it's all good. And so Sydney's like, oh, did you need to check up on me? Did somebody need to take me aside and talk to me about it? She just goes off on them, which I was living for. I loved it. Sure enough, Jason is like, should we get some water, Sydney? So he pulls her aside and he's like, relax, we're not going against you.
He
You're
flips
being
the
paranoid.
story around on Nick. Nick said this, Nick said that. I was like, no, there's not a girl alliance. Like, he totally lied.
But Sydney's kind of like, yeah, I got my eyes on you. Like, don't turn on me.
Exactly, which is true. You should be. Like, those guys are bullies, and I say that in the nicest way. Like, they're not being mean to your face, but they are dominating the group. So they go to the immunity challenge.
And it's a balance challenge.
Goodness gracious. How?
I thought with having your heels on that small little ledge at the bottom, I thought people with small feet were going to have an advantage. Yeah. But Julia was the first one out.
Yeah.
And I thought Scott was going to be the first one out for sure. I was like, oh, I'm calling it now. Scott's first one out, but not. But
he was close.
After Julia drops, like 10 seconds later, Jeff walks in with a tray of food, and he's like, oh, if you want to drop now, if you think you're good tonight at Tribal, drop now, get some food.
Yeah, it was interesting the way he played. He was like, if you're safe, you don't need to stand up there. You know how uncomfortable it is. Why don't you come have part of this buffet?
Have hot dogs, pizza, brownies, and I'm not on that island, and I was like, I want that food. I would have gotten off that ledge to get that food.
The fact that Julia was sitting next to that food and couldn't have it, I don't know why she didn't go nuts and just like steal food and go, I don't care!
Yeah, right.
That's what I would have done. But of course, Jason and Scott jump down immediately. As soon as they see food, they're like, yeah, I'm gonna eat that. I'm safe. They're so cocky.
Oh, yeah. So
then, though, while they're talking, Jeff's obviously trying to pull things out of them, and Nick's flat out like, well, yeah, as long as the brains don't win, because they're the ones that were voting out, it's gonna be a brain. Like, flat out says it.
Yeah. He's like, I just gotta wait this out until the brains fall, and then I'm good.
Yeah.
Because we're getting a brain out.
And then when he does finally drop down and get some food, he said something about, I hope it doesn't backfire on me. And Scott was like, no, you're good, man, you're good.
Yeah. Just so
Out
much
in
arrogance.
the open.
Yeah.
So
And
crazy.
what did we learn from Mr. Peter, Doctor? He went home because he was too arrogant. So.
Right. Impressive end to this challenge, though. Sydney was like a statue on this thing.
Motionless.
Did not move for so long. Ty started.
He was
like
squatting
moving from the beginning.
and moving his hands.
Yeah.
I assumed he was like cramping or something in his hands, so he's trying to move his
like
hands.
So uncomfortable the entire time. The two of them lasted 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And Ty's like talking, he's like praying to Buddha.
Yeah.
He's
He's
like
saying, I'm
chanting.
bamboo, she's a redwood. Like, he's not even making sense. And then out of nowhere, Sydney just steps off the ledge.
Well,
she can't take it
like,
anymore.
Yeah, she was so focused, and then like whatever it changed, she was just done. Those two are my favorites. It's clear now. Those two were my favorites. I was so excited that they both were there. She falls, and Ty steps off, hugs her, kisses her.
That really was nice.
Come on, Ty's the best.
Yeah. Ty wins individual immunity, so he's safe at tribal council that night. So
But
then...
this is lit a fire under Sydney's bootay.
She wants to make a big move. And she's pissed because Nick is running his mouth during the immunity challenge.
Yeah.
So she now is thinking, we gotta get Nick out of here. He's too big for his britches. People are afraid of this all-girls alliance. Well, guess what? Your worst fear is about to become real because I'm rounding up the girls and we're gonna get Nick out of here. So she's going off and talking to the girls.
Nick had just pulled Aubrey aside because he realizes she's in a bad place. So he should take advantage of that. And he flat out tells her, like, look, we're splitting the votes, so you need to do the smart thing and vote out Debbie.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying it, but that's what you should do.
Yeah.
And he said, like, I know I'm being arrogant, but, and she was like, well, at least you're admitting it.
Yeah.
So then the next conversation Aubrey has is with Sydney, who pulled Aubrey and Debbie over to propose this females, let's get Nick out. And of course, they're like, yes.
Yes, absolutely. Like,
yes, thank you.
Any brain is going to be like, yes, whatever you want me to do, I'm going to do.
Yes.
Like, as long as I'm not getting voted out, yes.
But then she has to present that to Michelle and Julia, and that's a harder sell because they're safely connected to those guys.
Yeah, but it was smart, I think, for her to get Aubrey and Debbie first, because then when she goes to Julia and Michelle, they're like, whoa, you know, we gotta loop in Aubrey and Debbie and make sure they're on board, and Sydney can say, I already got them. They're in.
They waver, and we go to tribal not knowing, because Julia makes a good point. She pulls Michelle aside, because Michelle's never liked Nick. So it's she's kind of like, I'm fine with that, but she's in with these guys, so why rock the boat? Julia's very in with these guys and definitely doesn't want to rock the boat. So they have a conversation, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't know what's going to happen, but if those girls don't do this, Sydney's the one that's going to take the heat. And so I'm now fearful about Sydney.
So we get to tribal. Sure enough, both Nick and Scott and Jason, even though he didn't say as much, they're all just so confident that this could only go one way. A brain is going home tonight. They don't have the numbers. They're on the bottom. There's no other way this could possibly happen except that a brain is going home, so let's just vote.
Then somehow, accidentally, Ty brings up the super idol. I don't even know.
Unprovoked.
We don't know that conversation, so we don't know who's in on that conversation. But Julia clearly was not.
She was like, what? What did you just say?
So Debbie took the opportunity to be like, oh, interesting. Look who's on the bottom of that alliance.
Yeah. Ooh, if you don't know about the super idol, you must be on the bottom. But I don't even think Debbie knew about the super idol. She's just that smart that she can turn on a dime and twist it and make you paranoid that you didn't know.
She's got some skills at that tribal. That was very impressive. Ty starts backpedaling. He's like, well, maybe someone was messing with me. Maybe it's not real at all.
But the damage is done. Like, people know there's a super idol now. Way to go, Ty. So we'll see how that plays out in weeks to come.
Right, but plenty of weird and awkwardness happens where we still don't know where the vote is going.
They tally the votes, right?
Tally the votes.
Aubrey, Jason, Nick.
And then I was like, who voted for Jason?
Right, just this rogue vote for Jason. What? That wasn't part of the plan. I think Debbie gets a vote, right? But then after it's like 2 Aubrey, 2 Nick, and you sort of see on Nick's face at that point, like, wait a minute, what? Why am I tied with Aubrey? And then it's Nick. And then he's the next person voted out as survivor. Goodbye.
Bye, Nick. Jason and Scott are like, what just happened?
Scott's face was like, what?
Totally caught off guard.
Yeah.
Obviously, Nick's caught off guard too. But this is a clear sign to Scott and Jason that their plan that they had.
It didn't work. Literally nobody in that Brawn and Beauty group voted the way they were supposed to, except for Nick, Jason, and Scott. Everybody else turned and voted for someone else.
Who did Joe vote for?
Joe voted for Nick.
So interesting.
All the girls and Joe voted for Nick, and Ty voted for Jason.
So here's the thing. This is clear declaration of war. This is a clear, you guys are not running this show.
Yeah, you are not on top.
And I am legitimately worried.
Yeah.
Like these boys, I'm terrified to mess with these guys, and I'm so scared. Like I was so glad that Sydney made the move.
Yeah.
And that they went for it. But now the repercussions actually does make me nervous. But the fact that Joe's not in their pocket.
No.
Like they didn't try to get Joe earlier, and I'm sure they're gonna try to now, but like Joe should not fall for that stuff. Like he's way more loyal to Debbie and Aubrey, right?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I don't know. This makes me so nervous, but I love it. But I'm so nervous.
In the preview for next week, we see Jason and Scott are gonna try to retaliate, cut off the food supply from the girls or something. It's war now.
They're not gonna just roll over and be like, oh yeah, okay, we'll win some challenges. No, they're gonna play dirty. Can I just say our brawniest moment is Sydney on the gosh darn thing?
You absolutely can say that.
I mean, she did not win, but like barely she did not win. She was solid.
I couldn't believe it. Everyone else looked so uncomfortable, and there was no pain registering in her face at all until the moment she cracked.
She's a bodybuilder, so I was like, maybe this is just like a common position, but like you don't hold it for 40 minutes.
Yeah,
Nobody
definitely
does.
not. And I'm gonna give our brainiest moment to Sydney also.
You should.
Okay, because she flipped the script on these
Sure
three
did.
guys who thought they were running the show. Nick has been this way for weeks now, thinking he's the master manipulator, he calls the shots, he makes all the decisions. So to see everything flip specifically on him at this point in the game was satisfying for the viewers.
She was able to pull that off. There's a lot of times that you want to make a move, but you're just like, ooh, maybe not the right time. And she orchestrated that.
And this is such a clean move too, which I love. Like, this is directly attributable to Sydney, which hopefully that doesn't backfire in her face later on, but if she makes it to the finals, this is a moment where she can say, this is a move I made. I got somebody out who thought they were on top.
And you know, it was a very beautiful moment when Ty and Sydney finished right after each other, and he embraced her and helped her up because she could barely move.
Right, because they were trash talking a little bit. He was
like trying to get in her
you're feeling it, you're feeling it, I can see it in your face. But then immediately afterwards, just let's reconcile. I love you. Great job.
And he was like, this is a challenge for me. It's not about like beating other people. He wanted to push his body. He was talking about how far can I go.
Yeah.
And it was an internal journey for him, and then he embraced his competitor.
Yeah.
God, Ty.
Just another reason for us to love you. Great.
Love you.
But way to go, Sydney, sweeping all of our awards this week.
Pretty much. She's a badass.
Yeah.
Baller! I love this episode, especially coming off of last week. What did you guys think? Are you rooting for Sydney like we are? Who are you rooting for? Please let us know.
And subscribe, and we'll be back next week.
See you then.
Bye.